black, white, red control deck with just a lot of different cards, but 4 Blood Baron is the standout here. And with the Aristocrats, both versions doing very well. You know, if a lot of people in the room are playing that deck, Blood Baron is a fantastic place to be. But Jeff is not playing that deck.
No, Jeff's on a 5-color control deck, base green, with Farseek to help out with that mana. And he's got a bunch of creatures too. 2 Snapcaster Mages, 2 Thragtusks. He also has 3 Blood Baron of Vizkopas, 1 Assemble the Legions he lists as a creature. And then he's got a Rakdos, Kirun, and 3 Garruk Primal Hunters to round out kind of his threats. And he brings it all together with 4 Abundant Growths.
Okay.
Card we haven't seen in a while, and 4 Farseeks, which he's just cast there to get a land. So the spells in Jeff's deck, he's a 5-color deck. He's got 2 Syncopates, 3 Bonfire of the Damned, 3 Pillar of Flame, 2 Turn and Burn, 3 Far and Away, and 3 War Leader's Helix. So it feels kind of mirror-ish, but Jeff's got a few more options going on.
Yeah, and the one thing that Jeff can do that Randy can't do is accelerate his mana. Randy has 1 Rakdos Kirun to accelerate, where Jeff again does have those 4 Farseeks, excuse me. And mana advantage and control mirrors are certainly a big deal. So you see Jeff is already out ahead because of his Farseek. He's got a Garruk Primal Hunter in his hand that he can cast far ahead of schedule. You see Randy's going to play a Cliptop Retreat, but he's basically playing catch-up from the start here, and Jeff is at the ready to cast Far or Away on his split card. So anything that can threaten that Garruk, Jeff can actually get rid of immediately and then slam down Garruk next turn.
Jeff Hoogland is semi-local. He's from Bloomington, Illinois. Not that far of a drive, I think. What, 3-4 hours? And he's been all over the Open Series. He's top-8'd all across the Midwest. Most recently, you've seen him playing Rug Flash in Standard.
Yep.
And he loves, I believe we call it the 4-color loam deck.
Yeah, he
in
loves
Legacy.
He loves the Life in the Loam deck in Legacy.
Possibly loam control.
Yeah, multiple top 8s with that deck, multiple top 8s and top 32s with the Rug Flash. And, you know, this is a little bit different than Rug Flash, obviously. This is much more of a control deck. And, again, as you said, he is from Bloomington, Illinois. It is not Bloomington, Indiana, which is where IU is. It is actually Bloomington, Illinois, which is where Jeff is from.
Is that like Springfield
Yes.
out here?
Yes.
That are just everywhere? So Jeff has played out his Garruk Primal Hunter. He's made a beast. And I like that beast. I can't remember where that beast is from.
It's angry, though.
But it is very angry. It's kind of howling. It's a howler beast. And now Randy is thinking over his options here. It looks like it might be the end of Jeff's turn. As you said, he could go for an end of turn spell of some sort.
Yeah, he's certainly in some trouble. It looks like we're in his main phase as he's rearranging his lands. Might have a Liliana of the Veil to cast here. He does have one in his hand. He could have cast, it looked like last turn, but maybe he chose not to. So he's going to tap his mana. He's going to tap 4 of it, so I wonder what he's going to do here. All right, so he's going to War Leader Helix Garruk and get that thing taken care of, which I actually like a lot, because you can't let that get to 5 or let Jeff draw cards with it.
And it's not Lightning Helix. It does deal 4 damage and gain 4 life. Getting word that beast token is from Eventide, created by the card Savage Conception. I have no conception of what that card does.
So that card makes a beast.
Okay, yeah.
And,
I guess so.
And I'm glad to hear it. I'm just here to help. It also has Retrace.
Okay.
Mechanic you don't see a ton of anymore. You see Hoogland did play an Abundant Growth, drew a card, puts it on his basic forest to fix his mana a little bit. We'll see if Randy has anything interesting to do this turn or not. He's starting to reach again, and he has not cast Liliana of the Veil that's in his hand that he could have cast on turn 3 or turn 4. Though on turn 4, I do like to play of War Leader's Helixing that Garruk, and now here is Liliana of the Veil.
Liliana of the Veil. Sacrifice your beast.
And that seems like probably the best thing to be doing with it this turn. You could, take it up, make both players start discarding because the beast token actually can't kill Liliana when it goes up to a 4. But I think sacrificing the beast is certainly okay.
Yeah, but if you go down that play, you end up with Liliana at 1, and then you can't use the sacrifice.
Yeah. So if it's going to end up at 1 anyway, it might as well take care of a beast token. It's now
Pillar of Flame. Redirect to Liliana. It's the F&M promo, Pillar of Flame.
And it looks like Randy has drawn our first Blood Baron of Vescopa for the match. The question, of course, is he willing to cast it? Because one thing you can tell with Randy is he's being very cautious how he's playing this game, because Jeff is very well known for playing Rug Flash.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of people that play Rug Flash outside of him. You know, he's the creator of the deck. He's the person that had the most success with it. So as a result, you see Randy playing a little bit more cautious now, where I think, like, you know, his deck doesn't have a lot of counter spells in them. You know, that's the thing. And, you know, Jeff is a player that has 6 top 8s on the Open Series, 2 second places, but he has no wins, you know? So, you know, for him, you know, he's done a lot of work, and, excuse me, he has 2 standard top 8s and 4 legacy top 8s. So, again, he's very well known for playing Rug Flash, but, again, this isn't Rug Flash, and, of course, we are working here, Ricky, with perfect information.
Right, and maybe Randy's starting to figure that out, looking at the mana base, looking at the abundant growth especially.
Yeah.
That this is not what Jeff is normally on.
Jeff is just going to go far seeking. It looks like he's just going to pass the turn again. So it looks like he's kind of setting up a big bonfire the damn day.
And Randy's loaded up with a Vampire Nighthawk, and he cast the Lingering Souls, but he did not flash it back.
Yep.
So Randy here is, as you said, playing cautiously, not overloading the board. And he's going to crack in for 4 damage, gain 2 off the Vampire Nighthawk.
I don't think he's really been given a reason to overload the board. You know, like, he could flash back his Lingering Souls if he wants to, but he hasn't really found much of a reason to do so, as Jeff carefully draws his card in case it's a Bonfire of the Damned. So I actually like how conservative he's been.
Yeah.
And Jeff is just consistently passing the turn back now, where 1, 2, he could certainly Bonfire of the League, but it looks like he's trying to catch some more in the wave. But I think Randy has proven that he's not going to.
Yeah, if he did not commit to the flashback of Lingering Souls. Oh, but he's going to commit something now.
Maybe this
looks
is
like a Blood
Planeswalker,
Baron?
or is it just going to be a Blood Baron? What do we have here? It's an Assemble the Legion.
Oh!
Okay, but a Syncopate is going to counter that from Hoogland. So that is very fortunate for him that he does have the Syncopate at the ready to deal with that.
The Legion did not assemble. And now maybe, yeah, he's counting up for the Bonfire. X equals something. Red.
So X is going to be 3.
Clears the board. Assemble the Legion. Wow, and they're both running that card. There's a 1-of over here on Jeff's side.
And a 1-of over here on Randy's side. And it's a card that can win the game all on its lonesome. Now you're going to see a Bonfire of the Damned getting miracled here from Randy. It's going to put Jeff down to 5. But if you're Jeff, I think you're pretty happy that this happened, because yes, you do go down to 5. You end up taking 5. You can die from another Bonfire of the Damned. But the thing is, he gets to take a turn off. You know, Randy's turn is just Bonfire of the Damned and pass the turn back. As Jeff draws a War Leader's Helix off that abundant growth. So Randy essentially took a turn off to deal Jeff 5 points of damage, basically Lava Axe him.
Lava Axe, yeah.
And that's awesome if you're Jeff, because now you've got some breathing room to get your control things, your control elements, online. You've got Turn and Burn, you've got Snapcaster Mage, you've got the Helix, you've got Far and Away, you've got 4 instants in your hand, all of which do incredibly different things, and now it's on Randy to figure out what Jeff is up to now.
I am just imagining a sequence from Jeff Hoogland where he Snapcaster Mages a War Leader's Helix, and that seems backbreaking if you get to do that.
Yeah. That gets him out of range, as we're going to see Randy flashback the Lingering Souls, but that gets Jeff out of range of like another Bonfire off the top. But it actually just gets into a healthy life total. Assuming that the first and the second one are going to resolve, that's going to put Hoogland up to 13. 13's a whole lot different than 5, and you see him casting War Leader's Helix right now, so he's going to go to 9 right now.
Going to the dome here?
Yeah, he went upstairs with that.
Maybe he didn't want to get that countered by a removal spell on Randy's side if he went for the token. The life gain is very relevant here, so you want to make sure that spell resolves. And he does have Far and Away that can deal with the token army.
And one interesting thing about Turn Burn in Jeff's hand is, again, Randy's deck list has 4 copies of Blood Baron of Vescopa. You see Randy casting War Leader Helix of his own, so he's going to make that trade, go right back. Hoogland down to 5, Keathley up to 24. But Turn and Burn is actually a very clean answer to Blood Baron, because it is pro white and pro black. And Turn and Burn is blue and red.
Those are not black and white.
Yeah, so it's actually nice to have this super clean answer to the card.
Okay, it's 2 spare tokens attacking. Jeff says, hold on, I gotta think about what I'm gonna do here. He's Gonna go with a Snapcaster Mage. Is he going to target the War Leader's Helix?
I have a feeling he's going to. And he is.
Does. And he decides that the coast is clear. So he deals with one of the spirit tokens. Gains 4, takes 1. Effectively gains 3 there.
Should be pushing up to 8 now. We'll get a life total update for you guys in just a moment here. Make sure these are all synced up and make sure our game state's good to go.
And he's got a Snapcaster Mage. He's got a foil Snapcaster Mage.
It's a good card. Good card. Jeff is one, he likes his foils.
Good man. I like my foils too.
I actually am pretty pro foil. Some people are very anti-foil. I think, again, it's one of those things where, you know, it's very polarizing. Either you love it or you hate it. I love a good foil.
And he's going to tap and make a Liliana of the Veil. That's his second Liliana of the Veil this match. Oh, and we got a little jostle there. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to get rid of the Snapcaster Mage?
I think you're going up. You see him reaching towards the 1 or the 4, which are conveniently right next to each other on the dice. On the die,
Goes
excuse
to 1.
me. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Because now Jeff is able to cast far, bounce his own Snapcaster Mage, and get even more value out of that card. Assuming that Randy doesn't have a removal spell for it in response. Which he does not.
And if he had a removal spell, he would have used it either to fizzle Jeff's War Leader's Helix on the Spirit, you think, or maybe even just kill the Snapcaster outright and +1 the Liliana. So here we go.
Looks like, let's see, what is Hoogland do? Okay, so it looks like he's going to cast Snapcaster Mage in his main phase. It looks like it's going to be Bonfire time,
Flashback of Bonfire, that's a big game.
So Bonfire from what's going to take care of the Spirit, it's going to take care of Liliana. So this is a pretty gosh darn good turn.
And Randy's down to an empty board except for his lands.
He's got a lot of cards in his hand. Again, he still does have that Blood Baron of a Scope in his hand that he has not slammed down yet.
He's been holding that for quite some time.
Yeah.
He's just waiting.
He's going to go with Olivia.
Still waiting. Well, he can grow Olivia here. Killing the Snapcaster Mage.
He's going to shoot Snapcaster Mage. Olivia's going to grow into a 4/4. Jeff says that's fine. I don't mind.
He's got Turn and Burn.
Now, one thing that you know, some people are confused about with Turn and Burn is how it
counters.
It's how it works with the counters. You being a judge and all.
Yeah, the counters calculate after the creature is turned into a 0/1.
So if there was an additional counter on there,
yeah, Turn and Burn would not kill it.
Correct. This is actually something that we saw happen a lot in week 1 when Dragon's Mace was released with just with counters. But in week 1 when we were in Somerset, a lot of people just did not understand the interaction. There was at least twice on camera where, you know, someone would actually turn and burn, and it would not kill the creature because of the +1/+1 counters.
Was this the team sealed portion?
It was actually the constructed portion.
Constructed, okay.
Yeah. And the team sealed portion, you know, seeing that mistake does not surprise me. Again, if you're not used to that interaction, because we haven't had a card like Turn for a little while. You know, the last one we saw was like Avenize.
Turn to Frog.
Yeah, Turn to Frog. The other one was Snake Form. But you don't see those cards a ton.
Form.
Yeah, you don't see those cards a ton, and you know it can really cause some difficulty with the rules if you're not familiar with them. So Blood Baron did finally come down. Hoogland took care of that, so Blood Baron is gone. You see the last 2 cards in his hand are the Turn and Burn and the Syncopate.
Yeah, Jeff had the Bonfire there for the Blood Baron. He had to read it to make sure, I think, that the protection, he had the right protections in his head.
Yep. So here's some mana. Here's another Olivia. And again, Jeff has Turn and Burn at the ready. Does not mind that. Draws a Farseek. He's going to cast that right away.
And the Vampire Control, we see it come out with the Blood Barons, the Vampire Nighthawks, the Olivias. But Jeff Hoogland's had the answers. He's had the answers in Turn and Burn, Bonfire of the Damned, War Leader's Helix. He's dealt with all these vampires.
He has another answer at the ready in his hand.
Might as well call him Jeff Van Helsing at this point.
The question is he going to take, you know, the thing here now, he's at 8 life. He's kind of balancing his life, using as a resource. Is he going to take 3 from this attack? Or is he going to turn and burn this and put the Syncopate shield down? Because it looks like Randy is organizing his mana in such a way that it's very obvious he has a spell to cast.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come out with Lingering Souls.
Gotta syncopate that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has enough to do it. And you see him reaching, yeah, so he is going to Syncopate this for 5. Randy has 4 mana. So that's going to get exiled. And now he's got to take a hit from Olivia and move down to 5.
5 is okay. I mean, you're out of War Leaders, Helix. Bonfire will still get you.
Jeff draws a Thragtusk. That's a pretty good draw.
Ooh-wee.
And he has enough lands where he could actually play Thragtusk and
both
and fuse Turn and Burn.
So does that first correctly, so Olivia can't pick up extra counters.
Yeah, the sequencing there is really important, right? Because if he casts Thragtusk first and then Turn and Burns, fuses Turn and Burn on the Olivia, Randy can in response shoot twice with Olivia on the Thragtusk, make it so it has 2 counters, Turn will make it a 2/3, and then Burn will deal 2 damage to it. So the sequencing there is super important.
No cards in hand, says Jeff Hoogland.
All I got is a Thragtusk, man.
Deal with it. All right. Murder.
Murder takes care of half number 1, and Missing Mortar takes care of half number 2. And I think if you're Jeff, predictably, you had a feeling that Randy probably had some removal spells in his hand. You know, he's this white, black, red control deck. I haven't played very many creatures worth killing, so it's pretty easy to deduce that he probably has a removal spell in his hand.
Is it a little surprising to see Randy go all in there immediately with both removal spells?
I don't think so, because again, you don't really know what's in Jeff's deck. He's got all these colors. As Randy casts a Blood Baron and Jeff actually has a Snapcaster Mage was his draw. Now he's going to Syncopate that. That's a heck of a draw step there from Hoogland.
They're both top taking here.
Yeah, but the thing if you're Randy is like, you don't know if Jeff has a card like Rakdos Return in his deck.
Okay.
You can just top deck and like clear out my hand. So might as well get these cards out of the way. That like I'm not going to take damage from Thragtusk anyway, right? I don't really have much interest in that.
And having Blood Barons in his deck, it is relevant to keep the life total up.
Yes.
You don't know how long this game is going to go on, so you want to try to hit that threshold where he gets big. Randy does this a lot. He moves his lands around, trying to figure it out. What's the play? What can I cast?
He's definitely got, I mean, he's had more cards in his hand than Hoogland the entire game. Hoogland's, of course, drawing more lands, so as a result, Randy's going to have more. And you see him going to cast Bonfire the Dam. That looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's going to be for 3. Jeff's going to play a land. He's going to say go, and I think Randy has a Pillar in the... Well, Pillar's not actually going to do it because he gained life. So Jeff he's doing okay. He's not doing great, but he's doing okay. He's not dead.
Randy's just doming him all the way.
We're going upstairs. There's a Sacred Foundry. There's a Sire of Insanity. That's a reason to cast that.
Yeah, their hands go away.
And
Scoop. Wow, Sire of Insanity.
Yeah.
The control killer.
A card that Keathley has 2 of in his main deck. Draws one of them finally. Hoogland was playing off the top anyway. He drew a Forest. That doesn't answer the Sire, and that gives game 1 over to Randy Keathley.
Wow. So much back and forth there. And Randy always kept ahead by just a little bit. He was the one dealing the pressure there, because even when Jeff did establish a board presence, Randy had built up so many cards in hand. He just started throwing removal and everything.
Yeah,
he didn't really care.
That entire game, it looked like Jeff was always just trying to catch up. He was never ahead. You know, he was playing purely reactive, but he was never able to get anything on the table to actually turn the game in his favor. He never drew one of his own Blood Baron of Viscopas, which his deck actually has a pretty difficult time dealing with that. But we're going to take a look at Jeff's sideboard first, because he is down a game. He's going to be on the play. He's got his back against the wall right now, so what can he find to actually help him here?
It might take me the whole sideboarding period to read this out to you, Cedric. Every card in his sideboard is either a 1 or a 2 of. So let me tell you the 3 2-ofs first. Abrupt Decay, Evil Twin.
Okay.
Love that card. And Aetherlink.
All right, so he does have Aetherlink in his 5-color deck. Okay.
And then the singletons, I mean, who knows what's going on here? He's got Electrickery, Pillar of Flame, Detention Sphere, Far Away, a second Assembled Legion, Curse of Death's Hold to deal with your opponent's Assembled Legions, Duress, Cavern of Souls for an extra land to do what? Naming what? I guess Vampire. If you really
You can
want.
push that.
Or Aetherling.
Yeah, it works with the Aetherling too, naming Shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter. And then I can't even pronounce this card.
I knew it. This is the card that gives me the most grief when I'm doing commentary, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong right now.
Should I try first?
You can go
since
first.
You've done it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that this card is Sepulchral Primordial.
All right. It's the Black Primordial. That's what I call it. Sepulchral.
Sepulchral Primordial.
Primordial.
I think we go with that. Sepulchral.
Let's hope he doesn't board that one in so we don't have to say it again. How about that? I think.
What is he gonna bring in here? The Aetherlings.
I think like the Aetherlings, the Cavern
finisher?
of Souls. I actually like him bringing in the Curse of Death's Hold because we saw Lingering Souls and we saw some of the Legion from Randy. So I actually like Jeff boarding that in. I'm perfectly fine with him boarding in like a Detention Sphere because we know that Randy has Planeswalkers and it gives you an out to Sire of Insanity once its effect actually resolves. Far and Away again also fine. The additional Assembled Legion also fine as well. He has a lot of cards to board in here and a very easy one to board out in Pillar.
Yeah, that 2 damage just doesn't matter against this legion of at least 3 toughness vampires on the other side of the board.
We take a look at Keathley's sideboard. He has 2 Obsidian Ghost Council, 2 Sin Collector, 2 Slaughter Games, 2 Duress, 2 Glaring Spotlight, 2 Curse of Death's Hold. So either player trying to win here with Assembled Legion is probably going to be pretty unlikely if the other one doesn't want it to happen. His singletons are 1 Appetite for Brains, 1 Dreadbore, and 1 Rakdos Return, which Rakdos' Return is certainly going to come in this like control matchup where Jeff doesn't have a ton of counter magic, but he does have a little bit. But Rakdos' Return actually forces him to have Syncopate right then, or it's really going to change the dynamic of the game. And I also expect to see Randy bring in those 2 Obsidian Ghost Councils because it is a super unique threat that, yes, Jeff does have answers to it in Far and Away and Turn and Burn. 3 copies of Far and Away, 2 copies of Turn and Burn. But again, it forces Jeff to have the answer right then or actually draw the answer in a timely manner, or Randy's just going to dominate with that card. So I think those are the options, and you actually see Randy does have an Obsidian in his hand right now.
And all those discard spells, right? Duress, Sin Collector, Appetite, those are coming in.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? Because we look at Jeff's deck list, and he does have a lot of creatures and planeswalkers, and even Assembled Legion and an enchantment. So he does have some spells that are worth taking, but he doesn't have like a very high density of spells like an Esper control deck would, like a blue-white-red control deck would, where he actually does have creatures and things that, maybe he doesn't want to dumb his deck down too much with Duress and Appetite, because the thing about those cards, of course, is that if you draw them on like turn 8 or turn 9, they're actually pretty poor.
Meanwhile, back on the board, Randy went for the value play of Liliana of the Veil, ticker up 1, discard Lingering Souls, but Jeff had the answer with War Leader's Helix. So the board is now clear again.
I like to call that card Planeswalker's Helix.
Planeswalker's Helix.
That's often what I see War Leader's Helix targeting and controlling or opposing Planeswalkers.
Randy's got a second Liliana of the Veil. Gonna continue to eat away at Jeff's hand. And this is a good game plan for him to have. Jeff doesn't really have card advantage in his deck. Snapcaster Mage is probably the best card advantage he has, other than bonfiring away a bunch of creatures. But Jeff has another War Leader's Helix for the second Liliana.
He could have opted to cast Detention Sphere to take care of that. Chose not to, and just passes the turn back. Randy finally does draw a 4th mana source, so he can actually play some lands. And you see Jeff just passing the turn back after playing Stomping Ground. But Randy chose not to, and he's still choosing not to flashback Lingering Souls. So it makes you wonder, did he either A, forget it, or B, is just happy not doing it?
Mm-hmm. And here we go. This could be important here. The 8 life off of those 2 War Leaders Helixes, as Jeff slams down a Blood Baron of Vizkopa.
And he could have done that multiple turns prior, but he's opting not to do that because he has Far and Away in his hand. And I think his thought process is, I need this Blood Baron to win, and if anything goes wrong, some sort of removal spell, which Randy is black, white, red. So he can't have a ton of ways to actually kill it. I want to protect it with Far, bounce it to my hand, recast it the next turn, make you have an answer to it again. Which I actually like this line of play a lot from Hoogland.
Yeah.
But now we might have a little Blood Baron war.
So what's going to happen here is Jeff is going to look, yeah, he's going to cast away now. Make Randy sacrifice his Blood Baron, and Jeff's going to swing in and gain the life. Now that thing is a monster.
Yeah, so that's going to push him to 30, and you brought up that point where those 2 War Leaders helixes gain him a bunch of life and turns everything around, but Randy off the top of the deck.
Does he have enough?
One, two, three, four, five.
He has 7. He's got enough mana for this bonfire off the top. It's a miracle.
Yeah, so he has enough mana, and the other thing that makes him so that he has enough mana is because Hoogland's actually going to end up taking damage, so it's going to shrink the Blood Baron. Because he goes up to 30, but then it shrinks it, and then state-based effects, it's going to have that damage on, it's going to be a 4/4, so it's going to die.
Oof. And it also mattered big time there that Jeff had to use his far and away.
And we weren't sure if he was going to board it in,
Oh.
but he did, so we have to try to say it again. Sepulchral, Primordial.
Sepul. Did he spell this right? maybe he's trolling us with how he spelled it. I'm gonna look this card up.
Either way, it's in play. It brought back a Blood Baron with it, and now Randy's in a world of trouble. A world of trouble now.
Yeah, Ghost Council, that doesn't really do it. I mean, it eats away at Jeff's life a little bit. Okay, Dreadbore, that'll get you back into the game. And now Obsidat goes away.
Alright, so Blood Baron versus Obsidat. A fight that typically Blood Baron wins.
I would have to imagine.
It's pro-white, it's pro-black. It can block it.
Lifelink.
Yeah, lifelink if it wants to start racing it, which is what Hoogland's gonna do. Start racing it. We're being told on Twitter by La_Martinbird, which is a very nice screen name, by the way. That is Sepulchral. Sepulchral.
Okay.
Primordial.
Thank you.
It's one of the few cards I actually have difficulty pronouncing in this game of made-up cards and made-up words. Sire of Insanity here from Randy. So Randy's pretty much taking a stand right now. He's saying, all right, look, I need to play this, and the race is basically going to be on. Pillar of Flame's going to go upstairs. I'm going to discard it anyway. Sire resolves. You see Hoogland's hand. He's got a Bonfire of the Damned and Detention Sphere, 2 cards he can't cast.
Yeah, he gets stuck with those sorcery speed cards in his hand. They're going to go away.
And so he's going to blink this out.
Trigger.
Yeah, trigger.
Wait a minute, trigger.
He may have forgotten his trigger.
Now he's pointing it out.
Yeah, now he's pointing out, but you have to announce that.
Yeah, he would have had to set something at the end of his turn when the Obsidat trigger to say also, you know, Sire trigger or lose your hand or something.
Yeah, because he did announce his trigger for the Ghost Council.
Yeah.
So as a result, he also does have to announce his trigger for the Sire Insanity, and that's probably what Hoogland's saying right now is, hey, that's your responsibility.
If he did not say anything, then I would probably rule this a missed trigger. And it looks like that's what the table judges said.
Yeah. And so now Bonfire of the Damned for 4 is going to take care of the Sire Insanity. Jeff still has the Detention Sphere in his hand. Blood Baron is coming across, so now we have a completely different game.
Oh, wow.
Because of one missed trigger.
Yeah. And that's a case where this is where the new trigger rules come into play. And Randy had every opportunity to use that trigger because at the end of his turn, he had the Obsidat trigger.
Yeah.
So at the same time, he can be like, also lose your hand.
Yep.
But he did not make any kind of indication of that happening.
And so now you see, wow. So Randy's going to fight back. He missed the trigger, yes, but he's got an Obsidat blinking in and out and attacking, and he just top decked a Blood Baron of Ascopa. So Jeff's got his.
It's not over yet.
Yeah.
It was a big play. It was a big thing in this game, but it's not over yet.
Jeff has his, Randy has his, and Jeff draws a Blood Baron himself. So, back and forth we are going to go. These life totals are going to be moving up and down and all around.
And he's got that detention sphere that can't target him.
It doesn't do anything.
I mean, you'd think like, oh, well, you could just get rid of them all, but no, pro-white.
And it's not like he's going to be able to catch a Ghost Council there. That Ghost Council has no reason to stay around.
No.
It's facing down pro-white and pro-black creatures. It can't block them, it can't attack through them. Might as well drain and gain while I can.
Drain and gain. Did you just name a future split card
Well, if I did, I'd like to copyright that and make sure that I am paid the appropriate amount of money when they make it.
All right, $0.00.
That's
is
correct.
your right.
So now Randy realizes right now, he's like, I don't have a choice. I have to attack. I'm at 8. You have 2 pro white and pro black races. I have to come in.
Yeah, and he is slowly going to lose this race because he can only gain 6 life, while those Blood Barons are going to be dealing 8.
But out goes Obsidat again. Randy passes the turn back. Jeff's going to untap his 2 Blood Barons. He draws a land. He still just has that detention sphere, and I don't think there's any reason for him not to attack. But you see him thinking it through his turn right now about, all right, if I attack with both, what happens? Does Ghost Council coming back affect, you know, my racing math, the lifelink math? What happens here? But he's going to come across with both Blood Barons again.
Right. Consideration would be to hold back 1 Blood Baron to block the Obsidat, but he can win this race, he figures. And these life totals all over the place. +4, -2, +2, -4.
So it's 18-6, Hoogland.
We think. We
Yeah.
hope.
But Randy's tapping mana. That means, oh boy, what is this? This is
Bonfire?
What is this? Rakdos' return. So this is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 puts him to 12. 12 minus 9 puts him to 3.
Wow.
But 3 is not dead.
More back and forth here.
But this actually puts Randy ahead now.
Puts him to 10. Jeff can only deal 8.
Jeff
Now
can,
what?
Jeff can deal, because Randy's at 10. Jeff can deal 8 and gain 8.
Goes to 11.
It
Which
puts
would be
Randy down.
dead
It puts
if he
Randy
does
down
not
to
have
2. Yeah, and then he would be dead because Obsidat comes in and deals him 2. Puts
then they
Jeff
attack
down.
for 9.
Yeah, and then attacks 9. So this attack,
So he has to have
He
a
has to have
blocker
something.
or a removal spell right here. Or it could be a bluff. Not really much point in bluffing. Randy's good. Randy has to go for it.
yeah, he's going to attack with both of his creatures. I can't imagine a world in which he doesn't. So Hoogland's at 9. He's facing down exactly lethal.
Oh, discard
my.
spell, duress.
Duress. No!
Doesn't even show it. Wow.
And so that is it. Now, this makes me wonder if Hoogland messed up the math at all.
I don't know. What? Yeah, because if he had something, he would have casted
If
a
he leaves,
response.
if he leaves one back, you've got Randy Keathley at 8, Hoogland at 5.
You still.
He goes
still
down
die.
to. He goes because we already accounted for the Ghost Counts coming into play. So he would be at 5, Randy would be at 8.
Okay.
And then Jeff has the Blood Baron to block the Ghost Council.
Yeah.
And then Randy would go up to 12. So it would be 12 for Randy, 1 for Hoogland, and a Ghost Council phasing out. So it would be 12-1, but Jeff wouldn't be dead, which would give him an extra draw step unless I'm looking at this incorrectly. So I think that attack with both Blood Barons, I think Jeff is now realizing was a mistake.
It could be. I mean, they had been going back and forth for so long. I don't know if he maybe momentarily forgot about Obsidat other than the ability.
Sure.
Because it had been blinking in for a while and on defense.
Sure.
Or just blinking away. So maybe he didn't factor in for that because the Obsidat was in the exile zone.
Yep.
That could be the case here. So Randy Keathley pulled it out 2-0 despite making what looked like a critical, I mean it was a critical error to miss the trigger on the Siren's Insanity.
That turns the game around drastically, right? The Siren would still be in play. The Bonfire Detention Sphere would have been out of Hoogland's hand. Then we see a wildly different game because that 4 points of damage from the Bonfire actually mattered quite a bit in that game.
And the 6/4 body of Siren.
Yeah, also matters quite a bit too, because then it actually forces Hoogland to put the brakes on with his Blood Baron because it actually has to just stare at the Siren Insanity and not let it attack.